On today's project, we're going to be back on this XR70. I got some new brakes for it, and while I'm doing it, I'm also going to replace the wheel bearings. Should be pretty easy, so let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the front wheel, and it's 14 on one side and 19 on the other. Now I can go ahead and take the axle out. The spacer on this side. And this should just slide right off. Yeah, these brakes are toasted. I'm going to work on the wheel bearing first. I need to pop this seal out. I'm going to try to use a wrench here, so I know I won't mess anything up. I don't have a seal puller. There we go. Yeah, this bearing is not turning hardly at all. Okay, to get this bearing out, I'm going to heat up all around here and then take my punch from the other side and see if I can punch it out. There it goes. Should be able to take this collar out unharmed, and then this one will be really easy to pop out. I just have an extension here. It should come right out. There we go. Now I'll clean this up and we'll put the new bearings in. Staying on this brake side, I have my new bearing, and it's sealed on both sides, so I don't really have to worry about the grease. I'm switching over to my heat gun here. I'm just going to heat it up, set it down, and I'll tap it in with this socket. I think it's a 22 millimeter. It goes perfectly around the outer race. Okay, I think that's fully seated. Bearing still moves really freely. Okay, back on this side, you can put your spacer back in. Should drop right down. Do the same thing with the bearing, and then we have a seal. Okay, that feels like it's bottomed out. This is moving freely as well, so we just need to slap a seal in. For this seal, it's pretty easy. I'm just going to grease up the outside here real lightly and then press it in by hand, hopefully. Just like that. Now that we got the wheel bearings on, we can go ahead and replace these brakes. It's pretty easy. You just pop these off with the springs. Now we need to clean this really well and make sure this part right here is not actuating very good at all. I got this all cleaned up real nice. Over here, I oiled up the cable, so now it should work properly and return properly. We can get the correct adjustment. Gonna go ahead and put the brake on now. So you'll just have to spread them apart. Get them in place. Might take a second, but there you go, just like that. Now I need to spray some brake cleaner here because I got some crap on it. Everything looks good. This is nice and flat. I've adjusted this to where I think it should be. When I grab the brake, this turns just a little bit, opening up these pads, and it returns just fine. So I think we're good to put the wheel back on. There's a little groove that you need to line up. It'll sit just like that. And then on this side of the wheel, you'll go ahead and put your spacer, the small end, right on the inside of that seal. Okay, everything's working good now. The brake's holding good. I've readjusted it at the top and the bottom here. You just want to make sure it spins freely. Grab the brake, and I can't turn the wheel, so, and it's returning, so I don't feel any drag when it's turning. Front should be done. Now we can move on to the back. First thing you need to do is remove your brake cable here. Now we can loosen the bolts. I think it's the same, a 14 and a 19. Remove your chain adjuster on each side. Go ahead and take this bolt out. Take your spacer out. Got the tire on the table here. I'm going to go ahead and take this brake out, just like that. We'll leave the brakes for later. I'm going to go ahead and replace these bearings first again. This one's not the worst, but this one over here was like not moving at all. So let me get the seal out real quick. And I'm just going to use a wrench. It just popped right out. Go ahead and get the spacer out. Again, I'm just going to clean all this up real well. I'll clean all in here, this drum, and we'll put the new bearings in. This side gets the seal. Back on the other side here, put the spacer in, heat this up, drop this bearing in. Okay, this looks good. Now let's work on the brakes. Yeah, these were done for. Okay, let me clean all this up. We'll grease it up, make sure everything looks good, and put it back together. Got everything cleaned up. This is working real nice. There we go, that's what it should look like. This action's working good. I can go ahead and put it back. Putting this wheel on is pretty tricky. There's a slot here and a slot on the frame again. And we have this piece here. Okay, I got that started. I'm gonna slip my brake into place while on this side moving my chain in. Then I have my spacer here. And I can put my axle through. Don't forget, put your tensioner on. Now I can go ahead and slap the tensioner on this side. And the nut. We'll go ahead and tighten this up and then we can adjust our brakes. Alright, now I just need to adjust this a little bit. Okay, I think the easiest way to set this is just to spin this over like this, push down the brake, make sure it's where you want it. Brake is really engaging nice, so I think the back is done now too. Alright, I think that's going to do it for today's video. I think those brakes and bearings were about 20 some years old. I think it went really smoothly, so I just want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.